Thank you, Dave, and thank you for the people that are attending today. Just by way of introduction, RooLife is a digital marketing and e-commerce company. Our focus is very strongly on the China market, so we take international brands into the very lucrative online e-commerce market in China. And what we're seeing is that we really match the demand on both sides. So we've got demand from businesses around the world who want to sell into China, just don't know how and are looking for a trusted partner. And we find that they see us as matching that criteria. And our performance gives them a great deal of comfort in that regard with the high demand from Chinese consumers. So there's online shoppers in China, they're actively looking and seeking for Western brands. And that's the space that we play in. Next slide, please. Just a bit of positioning for us in terms of us as a company. Market cap, about $16 million. Key takeaway from that as I work through this presentation is if you can look at that in the context of the revenue growth that we're achieving and the strong contract wins that we have achieved over the last 6 months. And the other aspect of it is that we completed rights issue in October, so we're well capitalised to continue our growth as a business. Now, just a bit more explanation of where we are and why we believe we're in the right place at the right time. The brands that we are representing are those that appeal to the online millennials, the online shoppers. So we're very, very good now at matching a particular product with a customer demographic in China and being able to bring those together for the success of both the brand and ourselves as a business. We operate across multiple platforms in China, so we understand and have a good sense for where a brand should be positioned and how we get the greatest pull through for that particular brand. Now, as I said, we started out as obviously as an Australian listed company focusing on the Australian market. What we've found is that it's not just Australian businesses, but obviously everyone globally is looking to access the Chinese market. And I think a consequence of what's happened with COVID, there has been, these businesses and brands have seen a downturn in their own domestic markets. There's been a much greater and stronger awareness of e-commerce and the benefits that are available via e-commerce. So we've found that we can very quickly profile, attract, engage with brands globally. And we've been able to do this all remotely. So this is part of our own skill set, is to be able to digitally market and acquire brands and also customers for those brands in China. Putting into some context of where we are as a business. So this business is 2 years in its life cycle. Over the last 6 months, we've become very adept at identifying and engaging with these brands. And just to give you a feel for the types of brands that we typically are signing and selling into the Chinese market are all in that personal grooming, personal healthcare space, a lot of focus on cosmetics. And the way that we work is that we receive a mixture of service fees, so mixed of fixed monthly fees that we receive every month, and we also draw a commission on all of the products that we market and sell into China. So looking back since April, we've signed 6 new brands, and they are now contributing to our service revenue and the stores which have been launched. Urea, Collab, AFT, and just I'd point to AFT just to sort of highlight a bit about AFT. So very successful New Zealand listed pharmaceutical company. Together we've formed a partnership with them to open a Kiwi health store online in China. So obviously people are aware of some of the successes of other pharmacy groups that are achieving online into China. We're looking to leverage the high regard that New Zealand as a country and a brand is held in esteem in China to take a health-focused store into that Chinese market. And obviously those contracts give us revenue in not just this financial year, but in coming financial years. So we're building out a very good, strong revenue base. This highlights really what we've achieved over the last 2 years. So it's coming up to 2 years. So we've taken the revenue from a starting point of pretty much nothing through to 700K in the first year to 3.5 million last year, and we're continuing to supplement that with these new contracts. So the ones listed out there, there's very little contribution into the previous financial year. These are all going to fall into our current financial year and the ongoing one. So $12 million of signed contracted revenue there on the basis of service fees, and the company achieving those minimum sales requirements each year, which we have a high degree of confidence of. And I think, as I said, look, the key thing that we really are looking to say to people is look at where we're going as a business, what we have achieved over a period of time. And I think you can take a level of comfort that we are delivering on that growth, and with the contract wins that we've already announced to market, to be able to look forward to see what you expect the company to do in the future. So I think that, you know, we'll continue to sort of map that out and explain to the market and demonstrate that we are delivering on our promises. Key elements of one of the key things that we do is that we provide all aspects of what is required for a business to successfully sell in China. And that's the ability for us to provide people on the ground in China, the ability to import, the ability to customize and translate and understand the way that a brand is positioned, marketed and priced, and to be essentially the representative of that brand in China. Typically, we are the exclusive provider for any brand that we engage with in China. So that gives us a great deal of control and comfort over pricing management, and the ownership of the customer in China. So it's a very good solution for the brands we engage with. It's also a very good solution for us as a business as we're growing out our value. And, you know, just to give people a sense of the way the e-commerce market operates in China is more sophisticated and mature than what we are typically accustomed to here in the West. And we get very much involved in the social e-commerce aspects of how we represent a brand. So how we generate the trust and credibility for a brand in China. And that is operating across multiple platforms, reaching multiple demographics, and making sure that we're getting a good alignment and a good understanding of a particular brand and its penetration into a demographic. So this is more just to give you a sense that it's not just a one online website, but it's across multiple and typically mobile environments. Just sort of then going back to summarize what we do as a business. So mixture of fixed monthly fees from very good, solid international brands that we represent. We then draw a commission on the sales of each of those products that we sell. And a key element of us is a lot of the conditions globally are playing to our strengths. So we're seeing that there is a far greater awareness, take up, adoption, and willingness to participate in e-commerce. And that's the very space that we operate in. We've also been fortunate in regard that there's been regulatory changes in China, and obviously COVID is reducing the number of Chinese that are traveling, which we're typically sourcing, providing and selling product into China under this Daigou market model. We have very much formalized that, and so the conditions are playing to our strengths as well. Just these are some of the brands that I was speaking to, but really it gives you a flavour that we do have no single exposure to a particular commodity, product or jurisdiction. So very diversified, and we believe that's one of the strengths that we have as well. So I think I've just touched on most of those strengths there. So happy to take questions as you see fit.
Thanks, Brian. A great presentation. Firstly, your own personal experience in China, can you give a bit of an overview to that? I know your experience in China, but I think it'd be worth everyone understanding that specifically.
Yeah, I spent 10 years living in China, working in the mobile payments and e-commerce space. So that was through sort of mid-2000s, really at the early stages of e-commerce and mobile payments really taking off in China, and then seeing it evolve very quickly. And what that's given me is an exposure to and an understanding of just how mature this market is, just how large it is, and the fact that it is still growing and there's really strong capacity there. So that's and that's where sort of like my personal passion is to see I know that businesses want to sell to China. I know that it can be challenging, and we like to help those businesses be successful.
During the uncertainty that's been created by COVID-19 and in particular lockdowns, have you seen it have any impact at all, positive or negative, on sales, but also the ability to acquire customers?
Yes, we've seen, I think it's helped very much in terms of brand and company awareness. It's brought to the fore the absolute importance of the e-commerce environment. And it's also highlighted to those businesses who may be suffering in their domestic market to be able to see how China has been recovering ahead of the rest of the world. So I think that's played to our strengths. And whilst China was a very big e-commerce market in its own right to begin with, there was a segment there of elderly people who may not have been quite comfortable to shop online that were really forced to do so as a consequence of COVID. So those sorts of things that's what we've seen and manifested into a good outcome from us as a business.
And so you've landed big new customers during this time?
Yeah, it's been the very pleasing thing is that we've landed these significant international customers without actually physically meeting them in person. It's all been done online as we're doing these presentations today. And prior to this happening, we probably would have thought that's not possible. We need to meet with these significant businesses. So.
And in terms of the uncertainty in China from a trade perspective, I don't need you to comment on it specifically, but is that having any impact or perceived impact on customers wanting to ship to China or vice versa?
No, we don't see any differential or change from Chinese consumers. Whilst there may be particular issues with particular commodities at any point in time, we are very diversified and we're very an international company. So we still see that individual Chinese shoppers are looking for what they see as high quality, aspirational international products. So we see no adverse effect at all in what's been happening.
Does the resumption of international travel change your revenue dynamics at all?
No, well, I don't think it does, aside from actually opening up another potential opportunity with the tourism and experiential shopping. So I think the regulatory changes that have transpired over that period of time will change the whole Daigou shopping experience. And the formal channels we operate in, we believe it puts us in an even stronger position. But the opportunity for Chinese travellers entering Australia and for us to be able to engage with them directly here and assist them with identifying Australia as a definition and lead them directly to products that they can engage with in Australia is once again another benefit we see as upcoming.